There is a part of you that already knows exactly what you need to do. It knows the conversation you need to have, the decision you need to make, the opportunity you should embrace, and the fear you should have left behind long ago. But almost all the time, that part of you gets drowned out, suffocated by doubt, by comparison, by the voices that tried to make you feel smaller than you truly are. You were not born insecure. That insecurity was built over time, through expectations you could never seem to meet, through mistakes you never fully processed, through words that wounded you far more deeply than they appeared to. But the Stoic philosophers understood something extraordinary. Every mind can be trained to trust itself again. Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped waiting for permission to believe in who you are. How many decisions would you make? How many opportunities would you seize? How much time would you stop waiting until you finally felt ready? Insecurity does not disappear on its own. It grows weaker every time you take action, even when you are afraid. That is what you are going to learn today. I have gathered 10 simple yet profoundly transformative Stoic practices to weaken insecurity, restore your mental clarity, and strengthen the confidence that has always existed within you, even if it has remained hidden for a very long time. If you are ready to take that first step, type only, "I trust myself," because courage almost never shows up before action. It is born while you keep moving forward. Let's begin. Practice number 1. Stop trying to be perfect. There is a voice inside you that whispers, "It's still not good enough," and that voice has held you back more than any obstacle the outside world could ever put in your way. How many times have you stopped yourself from starting something simply because you didn't feel ready? How many times have you frozen in place because you were afraid of making mistakes, of being judged, of not doing everything perfectly? You are not alone. Many people mistake perfectionism for dedication. But the truth is that perfection is not an ideal, it is a prison, a subtle trap that disguises itself as high standards, but underneath, it is nothing more than fear. Epictetus never asked his students if they had done everything flawlessly. He asked them, "Did you make progress?" Because progress moves you forward, while perfection keeps you standing still. Perfectionism is not strength, it is insecurity wearing a mask. It is the fear of not being good enough disguised as discipline. You become so focused on getting everything right that you forget to act. You spend so much time waiting for the perfect moment that life passes by without you ever taking part in it. And that waiting comes with a price that you rarely stop to calculate. Time that will never come back. Every day you spend waiting until you are ready is another day when the person you are today could have moved forward, but chose to stand still, waiting for a guarantee that life was never meant to give. And the harder you try to appear perfect, the more disconnected you become from who you really are. Because no one is perfect, only God is. You are human, and human beings learn, make mistakes, begin again, and grow. Perfection demands a flawless image, but progress demands the courage to start over. Have you ever noticed how much energy perfectionism steals from you? You begin a simple task and spend twice as long on it. You postpone an important project because it is not good enough yet. You refuse to show your work because it could still be better. And because of that, the world never gets to see your best because you never let it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not expect Plato's Republic. Be satisfied even with the smallest improvement and do not consider such a result insignificant. What transforms you is not what is perfect. It is what gets done. It is what you had the courage to bring into the world, even while your hands were shaking." Perfectionism feeds on comparison. You look at someone else's finished, polished result and forget that no one shows the process. They only show the final product. You're comparing your rough draft to someone else's masterpiece, and that is a battle you will never win because the rules were unfair from the very beginning. And there is something else. When you demand perfection from yourself, you begin expecting it from everyone around you as well. Then everything becomes disappointing. You spend your life criticizing, feeling frustrated, comparing yourself to others, while forgetting that life is built through the process, not through performance. So today, stop, take a breath, and ask yourself honestly, am I trying to grow, or am I just trying to look flawless? Because if it is only about appearances, you will remain stuck. But if it is about genuine progress, then even when you stumble, you keep moving forward. And that alone is already a victory. Today's practice is simple, yet incredibly powerful. Free yourself from the impossible ideal. Do what you can with what you have, and then improve it. That is the path of real growth, and of self-confidence that is built through action, not illusion. If this lesson spoke to you, write in the comments, "Today I choose progress, not perfection." Because every time you act, even when you are afraid, you send a message to your own mind, I can trust myself. And that kind of trust is worth far more than perfection could ever be. Because in the end, life will not ask whether you were perfect. It will ask whether you showed up. And the ones who show up, even imperfectly, are the ones who build the one thing perfection never can, a life that was truly lived. Practice number 2, the Stoic lesson that will make you value every day of your life. There is an invisible clock ticking inside you right now, and every second spent hesitating is a second that will never come back. It may sound dark, but this is one of the most liberating ideas in Stoicism. Memento mori, remember that you will die. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. It is not a threat, it is a call, a reminder that time waits for no one, and that the insecurity that feels like a giant today may not even exist tomorrow." The truth is that most of our suffering comes from illusions. The fear of what other people will say, the shame of looking weak, the doubt that we are not enough. But when you remember how brief life is, those illusions begin to fall apart. You realize that none of it carries the weight you once imagined. You understand that you are not here to collect fears. You are here to live with courage. And here is the paradox that very few people understand. Thinking about death is not surrendering to sadness, it is waking up to urgency. When you accept that the end exists, you stop wasting energy pretending that you have unlimited time to someday deal with what is bothering you today. Someday is the biggest lie you tell yourself, because it never arrives on its own. Someone has to decide that someday is today. Epictetus said, "Think of death as someone who is always watching you, and let that guide your actions and your thoughts." It is as if death walks beside you every single day, not to frighten you, but to remind you of what truly matters. Because 100 years from now, no one will remember whether you took the wrong road, froze on stage, or forgot to use your turn signal. But you will know, even if it is too late, that you missed out on experiences because you were afraid of looking imperfect. How many dreams have you postponed because of insecurity? How many times did you let love slip away, let your talent stay dormant, let your desire fade away because you were afraid to try, afraid to fully commit? Think about this. You were born with limited time, and every time you surrender to fear, you are choosing to survive instead of truly live. Memento mori is not about death, it is about urgency. It is about waking up before it is too late. Because when you look at your life knowing that it has an expiration date, you stop wasting time on what does not matter. The opinion of someone who will not even remember your name, an argument that changes nothing, the version of yourself that you created just to please other people. You begin to choose much more carefully where you place your energy, because you finally understand that it is finite. So try this Stoic exercise. Place your fears in front of time and ask yourself, will this still matter 5 years from now? Most of the time, the answer will be no, and that is incredibly liberating. You will realize that many of your insecurities are nothing more than smoke, and that the fire of life is calling you to begin now, even while you are still afraid. The practice is simple. Every day, do at least one thing that is aligned with who you truly are. It can be something small. Express gratitude, say no to something that harms you, take one step toward a project that belongs to you, but do it, because real life happens when you take action, not when you wait. Seneca said, "You may not wake up tomorrow, or after waking up you may not make it to bedtime. Start living now." Leave a comment saying, "Today I choose to live with courage." And more than writing those words, live as though every minute is precious, because it is. And when you honor your time, insecurity loses its power, and your life finally begins to find its true meaning. Practice number 3. Change by choice, or life will change you by force. There is a truth you can resist for as long as you want, but it will never stop being true. Nothing stays the same, and everything you try to freeze in time is already, at this very moment, slipping through your fingers. Change does not ask for permission. It arrives, turns everything upside down, unravels certainties, breaks routines, and sometimes breaks your heart. But what hurts is not change itself. It is our resistance to accepting it. Seneca wrote, "While I speak of the changing of things, I myself have changed. Nothing we see remains." And he reinforced this idea with the metaphor of a river. You never step into the same river twice, because neither the river nor you are the same. The problem is that, even knowing this, we still hold on. We cling to the job that has already lost its meaning, to the relationship that no longer has mutual love, to the image of who we used to be, as if the past could save us from the present. But it cannot, because life never stops, and the more you resist it, the more it drags you along. The truth is that insecurity is not born from what is new. It is born from attachment to what used to be. It comes from the fear of losing control, when in reality that control was never yours to begin with, and it is precisely this illusion of control that makes us sick. You spend years building a version of stability, believing that if you hold on tightly enough, nothing will slip away from your hands. But life does not operate through agreements. It promises permanence to no one, and while you waste your energy trying to stop time, it keeps moving forward, completely indifferent to your fear. The Stoics did not fear change. They studied it, accepted it, and understood that everything is temporary. The body, status, relationships, even memory itself. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything is transient, both the one who remembers and the thing remembered." And yet we keep trying to hold everything still, as if stability were the same as security. But sometimes it is exactly that craving for stability that keeps us trapped, frozen, quietly falling apart inside. When someone leaves, when a chapter ends, or when life changes direction, you have two choices: resist and suffer, or accept and grow. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, used a powerful image to explain our relationship with change. He said that we are like a dog tied to a cart. The cart is life, and it is going to move, whether you want it to or not. The dog has two choices: walk alongside it willingly, or resist and be dragged behind it. The choice exists, but the journey never stops. The more you fight against what you cannot control, the more pain you create for yourself. But when you accept it, when you move together with what is inevitable, you remain whole. And that is the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is sometimes unavoidable. It comes with every loss, every goodbye, every ending. But prolonged suffering, that is a choice. It is the dog struggling against the rope instead of walking with it. You can feel the pain of change without drowning in it. You can grieve a loss without becoming the loss itself. There is a space between feeling and destroying yourself, and it is within that space that your true strength lives. Acceptance is not surrender. It is understanding that every change carries an invitation within it, an invitation to grow, to let go of something that no longer belongs to you, to adapt to new paths, and to begin again with greater intention. You can look at a loss and see only emptiness, only what is missing, only what you lost. But you can also look again with a calmer mind and notice the space that has opened up, the life that is beginning to unfold right in front of you. It is difficult, yes. Sometimes it hurts so deeply that you feel broken, incomplete, like a part of you is missing. But even broken, you can still choose to move forward. So instead of fighting against the inevitable, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What inside me needs to change along with what is changing around me? Practice this. Look at one area of your life where you are still resisting. It could be a relationship that no longer nourishes you, a plan that no longer makes sense, or an old version of yourself that has already run its course. Let it go. Understand that letting go is not weakness. It is maturity. And acceptance is the first step toward transforming what once looked like an ending into a new beginning. Walk with change, not against it, because the person who embraces the flow of life does not lose control, they gain freedom. And where there is freedom, there is strength, because nothing makes you more unshakable than the courage to keep moving forward even when everything changes. In the end, perhaps the question was never, how do I make sure nothing ever changes? Perhaps the real question has always been, who do I become when I accept that everything changes? Because it is in that answer, and only in that answer, that true freedom is found. Practice number 4. Whoever learns to master themselves discovers what it means to be free. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the person who gets in your way the most is yourself? It's not someone else who throws you off balance. It's your reaction. It's not the unexpected that ruins your day. It's how much power you give it over you. Stoicism teaches that true strength begins the moment you learn to govern yourself, and that has a name: self-control. Self-control isn't coldness, and it isn't rigidity. It's clarity. It's knowing that not everything deserves a response, not every emotion deserves the spotlight, and not every impulse deserves action. Seneca wrote, "Learn to cast aside the part of yourself that lets you down. Focus on what you can control." And do you know what lets you down the most? When you sabotage yourself, when you lose your temper on impulse, spend money you shouldn't, say things that never needed to be said, or feed thoughts that only pull you deeper. What's even worse is that disappointment becomes a cycle. You sabotage yourself, you judge yourself for doing it, and the guilt that follows leaves you even more vulnerable to the next impulse. It's as if every uncontrolled reaction opens the door to another one. That's why self-control isn't about never feeling anything. It's about breaking that cycle before it repeats itself. It's about becoming someone you can trust. Self-control is the space between the trigger and the reaction. It's the moment when you choose to act like someone who is in charge of their own life instead of someone who lives at the mercy of their emotions. Feeling envy? Acknowledge it, breathe, and turn it into gratitude. Feeling anger? Recognize it, channel it, and respond with clarity and strength. Feeling anxious? Return to the present, one step at a time. You don't have to be a robot, but you don't have to be a prisoner of your own impulses either. Self-control is when you begin using your mind as a tool instead of treating it like an enemy. It's when you train your awareness before your reaction, your breathing before your words, and your consciousness before your decisions. And that pause, That small space between feeling and acting is where your freedom lives. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you want in the heat of the moment. That's just impulse disguised as independence. Real freedom is having the power to choose, even when your emotions are screaming at you to react. It's having the strength to tell your impulse, not now, and to tell the person you want to become, yes. Want a simple Stoic exercise? Today, pay attention to your triggers, not to punish yourself, but to understand yourself. What pulls you away from your center? What makes you react without thinking? Notice it, name it, and choose a different response. Because that's how real strength is built, through the daily decision not to be ruled by the chaos within or the chaos around you. Self-control is practice, and every day you hold yourself back, even when you feel like exploding. You send yourself a message. I am not a puppet of my emotions. I am the one who decides. True confidence comes when you realize you can trust yourself, not only when everything is going well, but especially when everything falls apart, and you still remain steady. No one is truly free while they are a slave to their own reactions. And the greatest victory you can achieve in this life is not overcoming other people, it's overcoming yourself every single day, until you finally become the master of your own life. Practice number 5. You can change what you believe. You can work hard, dress well, learn new things. But as long as you carry a limiting belief about yourself, everything will seem harder than it really is. It is like trying to run with a chain tied around your ankle. You put in the effort, but you never seem to move forward. Maybe someone once told you that you were slow, lazy, weak, incapable. Maybe you failed once and decided you would never try again. Maybe you do not even remember what happened anymore, but your mind still acts as if it were true. Those old voices do not shout, they whisper. And the problem is that you believed them. Epictetus said, "People are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the views they take of them." In other words, it is not what happened to you, it is what you came to believe because of it. Beliefs are not just thoughts, they are roots. They bury themselves deep beneath the surface and shape everything you see, feel, and choose. And if those roots are rotten, your life grows crooked, full of fear, full of self-sabotage. That is why I am telling you today, you have the power to rewrite your own mental story. And the cruelest part is that those roots work in silence. You do not spend your day repeating, "I am not capable," but you act as if it were true, turning down opportunities before they even exist, giving up halfway because part of you supposedly already knew how it was going to end. A belief does not need a speech to control you. It only needs you to never question it. The Stoics did not teach that you should run from pain, but that you should face it with clarity. Challenge the voice that says, "You cannot do this." Push back against the idea, "You always fail." Tear apart the thought, "You were never meant for this." Because it does not matter who planted those ideas in you, a teacher years ago, someone in your family, or any experience shaped by the world around you. What matters is this: you do not have to keep carrying them. As long as you do not question those beliefs, you will remain trapped inside a version of yourself that no longer exists. You have grown, but your mind still reacts as if you were that rejected child, that quiet teenager, that insecure adult. Real transformation begins when you stop repeating, "That is just who I am," and start saying, "I can become someone different." You never chose that first belief. It was handed to you, planted at a time when you did not even have the ability to question it. But every belief that comes after that, every time you reinforce it by acting as if it were true, that is your choice. You are not responsible for the seed someone planted, but you are completely responsible for continuing to water it every single day. The mind that once sabotaged you can become your greatest ally. But that requires you to stop accepting every thought as truth, every fear as destiny, and above all, every criticism as a final verdict. Your thoughts need a filter, not blind faith. Because a thought is not a command, it is a suggestion, and you have every right to say, "I do not accept this anymore." Today's practice is simple. Pay attention to your automatic phrases. Whenever "I cannot do this," "I am not capable," or "that is not for me" comes into your mind, stop, breathe, and say, "That is just an old belief, and I can choose a new one." And if this idea touched something inside you, go to the comments right now and write, "Today I choose to believe in myself." And let that sentence become your new pattern, because the person who changes their beliefs changes their possibilities, and the person who changes their possibilities changes their own destiny. Practice number 6. Own what is yours. Let go of what isn't. You feel insecure because you're trying to control what was never in your hands to begin with. You try to predict how other people will react. You try to imagine every possible outcome. You try to force things to unfold exactly the way you expect them to. And when they don't, you fall apart. But maybe it isn't weakness. Maybe it's simply a lack of clarity about where your power ends and where life begins. Epictetus taught this to his students every single day. Some things are within our control, others are not. That is the foundation of the dichotomy of control, simple yet profoundly liberating. You can't control what other people think of you. You can't control the outcome. You can't control life itself. But you can control something infinitely more important: your choices, your actions, your character. Insecurity begins the moment you forget that, the moment you spend all your energy trying to please, predict, and control, only to become frustrated because nothing turns out the way you imagined. Want an example? You go into a job interview, and instead of focusing on your preparation, on what you have to offer, you spend the whole day wondering whether they're going to like you, whether they're going to choose you, whether they're going to validate you. But that isn't up to you. What is up to you is the way you show up, your presence, your clarity, your authenticity, and that alone is enough. Or at work, you dedicate yourself, you give more than anyone expects, and you wait for recognition, praise, the promotion. But what you fail to see is that you're placing your self-worth in the hands of someone who may not even be paying attention. Meanwhile, you forget to ask yourself, do I recognize my own worth? Would I still do this if no one ever noticed? Seneca wrote that true balance comes from focusing on your own actions, not on the reactions of others. When you do what is right, because it is right, and not because you're expecting a reward, an inner strength is born that no one can ever take away from you. Accepting the dichotomy of control is difficult, but it is what separates anxiety from serenity. Because when you know you've done everything that was within your power, you can sleep peacefully, even if the world doesn't respond the way you hoped it would. That peace is not indifference, it is wisdom. It is knowing where your responsibility ends and where the natural flow of life begins. Stephen Covey once said, "The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities." And perhaps your most urgent priority today is this: stop wasting your energy trying to control the uncontrollable. Today's practice is simple. The next time you feel insecure, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act with clarity. If the answer is no, let it go. Take a breath and come back to yourself. Because every time you focus on what is within your control, you plant the seeds of serenity. And every time you let go of what isn't, you harvest freedom. Practice number 7. Learn to truly understand yourself. Stoicism was never just theory. It is practice, discipline, inner exploration, and above all, self-awareness. The Stoics did not study to appear wise. They reflected to become aware. because they knew that a human being's greatest strength is not found in appearances, but in the clarity of knowing who they are. You can conquer the world, but if you do not know who is behind your decisions, everything falls apart at the first criticism, the first false compliment, the first unresolved doubt. Seneca used to say, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And he was right. Most of your fears are not outside of you, they are inside your own mind. In the way you interpret things, in the way you experience every situation you go through. That is why knowing yourself is not a luxury, it is emotional survival. The person who does not know themselves lives by reacting. The person who knows themselves chooses with awareness. And that difference changes everything. Self-awareness is not sitting in silence, waiting for mystical answers. It is having the courage to honestly face what you feel without running away. It is stopping the habit of blaming the world and beginning to ask yourself, what is it in me that still allows this to happen? It is understanding that your anger very often is hiding fear, that your procrastination very often is hiding perfectionism, and that your anxiety very often comes from trying to control everything. And you do not discover that overnight. You discover it by living with greater presence, by observing your triggers, reflecting on your patterns, and asking yourself questions that are uncomfortable but deeply freeing. Stoicism is that mirror. It forces you to look, and at first, you may not like what you see, but that is exactly where transformation begins. You cannot change what you do not understand. But when you begin to understand what drives you, what holds you back, what makes you lash out or run away, you begin to gain power, the power to act with intention, to respond with balance, to stand your ground with conviction, not out of impulse, but out of awareness. So stop searching for answers outside yourself. Start creating silence within. Notice what wounds you, what calms you, what makes you hide who you truly are. With every discovery, you become stronger. With every truth you accept, you become freer. If this lesson touched something inside you, write in the comments, "Today, I choose to know myself with courage." Because the more you know yourself, the less you need to pretend, and the more truth there is within you, the less the world can confuse you. Practice number 8. Whatever you repeat, your mind eventually accepts as the truth. Have you ever stopped to listen to what you tell yourself every single day? Maybe not out loud, but there, in the silence of your own mind. It's that voice that shows up when you make a mistake. You failed again. You never learn. Nothing ever works out for you. And do you know what's even more dangerous? It's not the mistake itself, it's what you tell yourself after it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What you think of yourself matters far more than what others think of you." And that's not just philosophy from an old book, it's emotional survival. Because the way you treat yourself on the inside determines how you live on the outside. If your mind is a battlefield, you'll live on high alert, even on peaceful days. If your mind is a courtroom, you'll always be standing trial before your own judgment. But when your mind becomes a place of refuge, everything changes. You no longer need to run away. You no longer need to hide. You begin to walk with the confidence of someone who knows that no matter what happens, there's a safe place within. Tony Robbins said something simple, yet incredibly powerful. The only person who can change your life is you. And it all starts here, with the silent conversation you have with your own mind. So today, replace accusation with guidance. Instead of thinking, "I messed everything up again," say, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it." Instead of "nothing ever goes right for me," say, "Things are hard right now, but I'm still moving forward." That's not self-deception. It's emotional intelligence. It's choosing to take the wheel of your own story instead of letting intrusive and cruel thoughts take control. And do you want to know one of the most powerful antidotes to self-judgment? Gratitude. But not the forced, mechanical kind of gratitude, the kind people post about at the end of the year, but real gratitude, the kind that is genuinely felt, the kind that recognizes the meal you had today, the roof over your head right now, the body that still carries you, the small victories that no one applauded but that kept you standing. When you begin to feel grateful, even in the middle of pain, your mind shifts its focus. It pulls you away from everything you lack, so you can finally see everything you already have. It takes your attention away from what hurts you and helps you feel what is holding you up, and that brings peace, builds strength, and transforms you. Another essential practice is to challenge your negative thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really my voice, or did I learn to speak to myself this way? Is what I'm thinking actually true, or is it just fear disguised as certainty? Most of the thoughts that sabotage us are not facts, they're interpretations. And the moment you begin to question them, you begin to set yourself free. But don't expect perfection from yourself. You'll stumble, you'll criticize yourself again, you'll have difficult days. What matters is noticing it and coming back with kindness, coming back with presence, and coming back with the awareness that you're still a work in progress. And if this spoke to you in any way, leave this in the comments. Today, I choose to be my own fortress, because at the end of the day, the most important voice you'll ever hear is your own. And when that voice becomes your ally, no one else has the power to destroy you from within. Practice number 9. Step beyond your comfort zone. Have you ever noticed how your comfort zone seems, at first, like a safe place? It welcomes you, protects you, makes you feel like you're in control, but over time, that safe haven starts to close in on you. And what once felt like comfort becomes limitation. Stoicism teaches us that growth happens beyond what is familiar. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Life demands action, not guarantees." Yet we keep waiting for the perfect moment, the green light, the absolute certainty that never comes. The truth is, your comfort zone is not built on peace. It is built on repetition, and repetition creates stagnation. You wake up, work, respond, survive. But your soul doesn't move forward. You want to change, but you don't want to take a risk. You want to become stronger, but you don't want to feel uncomfortable. You want to overcome insecurity, but you don't want to leave the place you've always known. Epictetus said that habit is a tyrant disguised as routine, and every habit that protects you too much also holds you back. Expanding your comfort zone doesn't mean doing reckless things. It means doing things differently. It means saying what you've always kept to yourself, trying what you've always put off, placing yourself where your old self would never have dared to stand. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. Every time you do something new, no matter how small, your brain registers. This is possible, and little by little, what once felt uncomfortable becomes familiar. What once seemed unthinkable becomes a habit, and what was once fear becomes your foundation. Do you want to know how to overcome insecurity? Not by hiding, but by testing yourself. It's about stepping out while you're still afraid and coming back with a new story. It's about making mistakes, learning from them, and trying again with greater confidence. It's about doing it today, tomorrow, and the day after that, until what was once unfamiliar no longer scares you. It simply expands who you are. Today's practice is simple. Choose one small thing that lies outside your comfort zone. Talk to someone, share your opinion, express an idea, or take a different route home. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be different. Every small step beyond your comfort zone is a giant step toward greater self-confidence. Practice number 10. Start building your own path. There comes a point when you have to stop waiting for validation and start building yourself from within. A moment when, even with fear, doubts, and difficult days, you choose to keep moving forward, because the confidence you're looking for out there is born the moment you begin walking with integrity, even in silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." And those words, spoken with conviction, are not cruelty, they are freedom. They remind you that you are more capable than you think, that there is a strength within you the world has never seen, and that only you can awaken it by living with purpose instead of living for applause. Your life is not a comparison, it is not a stage, it is a path. And it will only be built when you stop getting distracted by what others expect from you and start honoring what you expect from yourself. You don't have to do everything right now. You don't have to figure your whole life out in 1 week. But you do have to begin with one action, one habit, and one decision. Stoicism is not a beautiful theory to admire. It is a demanding practice to live by. It is getting up with what you have. It is taking action even when you're afraid. It is starting over with dignity. It is waking up tomorrow and doing it again, even when no one is watching. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to grow, to build, one stone at a time, the kind of life that reflects your true worth, and every small action aligned with that is already a victory. So today, choose to take one intentional step, not to impress anyone, but to honor the person you are becoming. If this journey resonated with you, leave this comment below. Today, I build my path with unwavering strength. And remember, you don't have to move fast. You just have to keep moving with honesty, with clarity, and with courage, because those who walk with purpose are already winning. I hope this video has helped you see life from a new perspective. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, leave a like, and share this video with someone who needs this boost of encouragement. Here at Stoic House, we keep moving forward, growing, evolving, and becoming who we truly are. Thank you for watching.